At the age when most men are still learning how to rule, one young king was already conquering the world. He never lost a single major battle. He defeated empires that had existed for centuries, and before his 33rd birthday, he ruled the largest empire the world had ever seen. Was he the greatest general in history? This is the complete story of Alexander the Great. Alexander was born in 356 BC in the small kingdom of Macedon, north of Greece. His father, King Philip II, was a brilliant military reformer who turned Macedon into a powerful war machine. His mother, Olympias, filled Alexander's mind with stories of gods, heroes, and destiny. From a young age, Alexander believed he was meant for greatness. One of the most important influences on Alexander's life was his teacher, Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history. Aristotle taught him science, politics, medicine, literature, and philosophy. But most importantly, he taught Alexander to think beyond borders. Alexander didn't just want to rule a kingdom, he wanted to rule the world. At just 20 years old, Alexander's life changed forever. His father, King Philip II, was assassinated. Suddenly, Alexander became king. Many believed he was too young, too inexperienced. Greek cities revolted, enemies prepared to attack. Alexander responded with speed and brutality. He crushed rebellions, destroyed the city of Thebes, and sent a clear message: Macedon had a new king, and he was ruthless. With Greece secured, Alexander turned his eyes eastward toward the greatest empire of the time, the Persian Empire. Persia was massive, wealthy, and powerful. It had defeated Greek armies before, but Alexander believed Persia could be conquered. In 334 BC, he crossed into Asia with around 40,000 soldiers. Against him stood an empire that stretched from Egypt to India. Alexander's first major test came at the Battle of Granicus. Outnumbered and facing experienced Persian forces, Alexander led the charge himself. He fought in the front lines, nearly died, but emerged victorious. This set the tone for all his future battles. Alexander did not command from the rear, he led from the front. Next came the Battle of Issus in 333 BC, where Alexander faced King Darius III of Persia himself. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Alexander used superior tactics, speed, and discipline. The result was shocking. The Persian army collapsed. Darius fled the battlefield. For the first time, the Persian Empire looked vulnerable. Alexander continued south along the Mediterranean coast. One of the toughest challenges he faced was the siege of Tyre, a heavily fortified island city. For 7 months, Alexander refused to give up. He built a massive causeway across the sea, attacked relentlessly, and finally broke through. Tyre fell, and the world learned something important about Alexander. He never accepted defeat. In Egypt, Alexander was welcomed as a liberator. The Egyptians crowned him pharaoh and declared him the son of a god. Here, Alexander founded one of the most famous cities in history, Alexandria. It would later become a center of knowledge, science, and culture for centuries. The decisive moment of Alexander's career came in 331 BC at the Battle of Gaugamela. This was the final showdown with Darius III of Persia. Persia had a massive army, possibly over 200,000 men. Alexander had far fewer troops. But through brilliant tactics, precise timing, and bold leadership, Alexander shattered the Persian army. Darius fled again. Soon after, he was betrayed and killed by his own men. The Persian Empire was finished. Alexander now ruled an empire stretching across 3 continents. But he did not stop. He pushed eastward into Central Asia, fighting fierce resistance for years. He adopted Persian customs, married foreign women, and encouraged cultural unity. Some of his own soldiers grew uneasy. They wanted to go home. Alexander wanted more. Eventually, Alexander reached India, where he faced King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes. Despite war elephants and difficult terrain, Alexander won once again. But this time, his army refused to continue. Exhausted and far from home, they demanded to return. For the first time in his life, Alexander had to accept no. In 323 BC, in the city of Babylon, Alexander fell ill. He was only 32 years old. Within days, the greatest conqueror in history was dead. When asked who should inherit his empire, Alexander reportedly said, "To the strongest." Those words would doom his empire. After his death, Alexander's generals, known as the Diadochi, fought each other for control. The empire was divided and eventually collapsed. Yet, Alexander's legacy did not die. Alexander changed the world forever. He spread Greek culture across Asia and the Middle East. He connected East and West like never before. His conquests created the Hellenistic Age, shaping politics, art, science, and warfare for centuries. Great leaders studied him. Julius Caesar wept at Alexander's tomb. Napoleon carried books about him. Modern generals still analyze his battles. Alexander the Great was not perfect. He was ambitious, ruthless, and often reckless. But no general before or after conquered so much, so fast, and so young. He did not just win battles, he reshaped history. And that is why, even after more than 2,000 years, one question still remains. Was Alexander the Great the greatest general in history?